Thoth reveals that a soul never arrives on earth by accident, and when this truth is understood deeply, it changes the way you see every step of your life. According to the ancient teachings, a soul chooses earth not because it is forced, punished, or lost, but because this world offers something that no other realm can provide, contrast so sharp that it forges true remembrance. In the higher planes, everything is unified, harmonious, and effortless. There is no separation, no fear, no doubt, only pure awareness. But in a realm where everything flows without resistance, a soul cannot grow stronger. It cannot test its wisdom or refine its inner power. Earth, with all its uncertainty and limitation, it becomes the perfect arena where a soul can discover what it truly is. When a soul descends into this dense plane, it brings with it a blueprint, a set of lessons, karmic threads, and potentials designed uniquely for its evolution. This blueprint is not a rigid script but a flexible map with many possible pathways, and every challenge, every relationship, and every moment of confusion is part of that map. Many people believe they have fallen from the higher worlds, as if Earth is a punishment. Thoth contradicts this idea completely. You did not fall. You volunteered. You've stepped into a world of shadows so that you could remember your light with a clarity impossible to achieve anywhere else. Only by experiencing forgetfulness can remembrance become meaningful. Only by walking through darkness can you claim your inner radiance as your own. The soul's journey on Earth is deeply intentional. It comes here to test the truth of what it claims to know. In the subtle realms, concepts such as compassion, courage, forgiveness, or sovereignty are understood intellectually, but not experienced fully. Earth transforms these concepts into lived reality. It is one thing to know forgiveness. It is another to practice it when someone wounds you. It is one thing to understand courage. It is another to stand firm when everything around you seems to collapse. It is one thing to speak of unconditional love. It is another to offer it in a world where love is often misunderstood or withheld. Through these trials, the soul shifts from theory to mastery. Thoth also teaches that Earth is one of the rare realms where free will is so strong that it can override even the soul's plan. This makes incarnation an extraordinary opportunity. Here, your thoughts, intentions, and choices shape your path more powerfully than in almost any other dimension. Every decision creates ripples. Every step alters your trajectory. Every moment invites you to choose between fear and expansion. This is why Earth can feel overwhelming. The density, the responsibility, the unpredictability. But it is precisely this intensity that strengthens a soul's ability to create consciously. To navigate a world where you can forget who you are, yet still find your way back to truth, is one of the highest forms of spiritual training. Another reason for your incarnation lies in integration. Souls often carry fragments from previous lifetimes, unresolved emotions, unexpressed gifts, unhealed wounds. The Earth plane, with its raw emotional spectrum, becomes a mirror that brings these fragments to the surface. A triggering relationship may reopen an ancient wound that needs healing. A sudden fear may reflect a memory long buried. A strong desire may point to a gift you once mastered. Nothing is random. Everything is an invitation to reclaim a lost part of yourself. Through this process, you gather scattered pieces of your consciousness and weave them back into wholeness. And while your personal growth is essential, Thoth emphasizes that souls also come to Earth to contribute to collective evolution. Humanity operates as a shared energetic field, and every individual affects that field. When you heal yourself, you lighten the weight of the collective. When you overcome fear, you make courage more accessible for others. When you awaken, you shift the vibration of the entire grid. Even those who never consider themselves spiritual play a role in uplifting human consciousness simply by learning, striving, loving, failing, trying again, and discovering inner truth through lived experience. Ultimately, the deepest reason your soul incarnated on Earth is remembrance. You came here to forget so that remembering would transform you. You came here to walk through separation so that unity would become a revelation, not a given. You came here to experience limitation so you could rediscover your boundless nature. Earth is not a trap. It is a proving ground, a realm where divinity learns to navigate shadow, where light forges itself through contrast, where consciousness becomes stronger through experience. When you awaken to this purpose, when you realize that every struggle is a teacher and every moment is part of your blueprint, a profound shift occurs. You stop seeing life as something that happens to you and begin recognizing it as something happening for you. You understand that nothing has been wasted, nothing has been accidental, and nothing has taken you off your path. You are exactly where your soul intended to be. Through every joy, every wound, every lesson, and every breakthrough, you are fulfilling the real reason you came to Earth, to remember who you truly are, and to carry that remembrance back to the higher realms as wisdom earned through the journey of being human. Your soul comes to Earth to test the truth of what it claims to know, and this testing is not a simple evaluation, but a deep immersion into the raw, unfiltered landscape of human experience. Without challenge, wisdom remains only an idea. It is like knowing the definition of strength but never lifting a single weight, or speaking of love without ever risking vulnerability. Earth transforms every spiritual concept into a lived reality, forcing you to embody what you once only understood in theory. This is why every lifetime becomes a classroom, and every moment becomes an opportunity for mastery. The soul refines courage by facing fear, develops patience by enduring uncertainty, sharpens discernment by navigating confusion, expands compassion by encountering pain, and discovers sovereignty by breaking free from external control. These lessons cannot be learned in the realms of light alone. They require the density, imperfection, unpredictability, and emotional intensity of human life. The obstacles you face are never random. They are mirrors held up by the universe to show you what still asks for healing or acknowledgement. When you meet someone who challenges your boundaries, the universe is mirroring your need for self-respect. When life places you in situations where patience is tested, it is reflecting the inner turbulence that still seeks calm. Even the people who hurt you act as mirrors, revealing where your heart still carries wounds or unresolved energies from other lifetimes. Thoth teaches that nothing on earth is designed to break you, not the heartbreaks, the failures, the betrayals, nor the losses. Instead, these experiences act as catalysts, shaking you awake so that you can see what lies hidden beneath your ordinary reactions and unconscious patterns. Every challenge carries a message. Fear says, there is a part of you ready to discover courage. Pain says there is a part of you that is ready to heal. Confusion says there is a part of you waiting to access deeper wisdom. Loneliness says there is a part of you longing to reconnect with your own presence. Nothing you encounter is meaningless or wasted. Even the moments where you feel lost or repeated are part of the soul's curriculum. The soul does not measure success the way humans do, not by achievements, praise, stability, or control. The soul measures growth by how much awareness you gain, how deeply you awaken, and how fully you return to your own inner truth. You incarnate into a world where forgetting is almost guaranteed. The density of earth, the noise of society, the pressures of survival, and the influences of others all contribute to a veil of forgetfulness. This forgetting is not a flaw, it's part of the design. You forget who you are so that remembering becomes a revelation rather than an assumption. If you carried full awareness of your divinity from birth, the lessons of earth would lose meaning. You would move through life without emotional depth, without challenge, without transformation. But when you rediscover your strength after believing you were weak, that strength becomes unshakable. When you rediscover your light after walking through darkness, that light becomes eternal. This is why mastery is forged on earth, not given. The higher realms offer knowledge. Earth offers experience. The higher realms provide clarity. Earth provides complexity. The higher realms show you unity. Earth forces you to navigate separation until you break through it consciously. Thoth often describes Earth as a refining fire, where the soul sheds illusions, heals ancient wounds, confronts its own shadows, and rises into a level of awareness that cannot be achieved anywhere else. Consider how every major shift in your life has come not from ease, but from challenge. A loss that opened your heart, a betrayal that sharpened your intuition, a failure that redirected you, a painful ending that made space for a new beginning, a moment of despair that led to a deeper awakening. These experiences shaped you in ways comfort never could, and still, the most profound realization is this: you are never alone in your journey. Your soul does not enter this world without support. Guidance appears through intuition, synchronicities, dreams, symbols, and the people you meet at exactly the right moment. Even when you feel abandoned, you are surrounded by subtle forces nudging you toward remembrance. The awakening process may be slow, but it is inevitable. Every lesson, every challenge, and every cycle leads you closer to the truth your soul has carried since the beginning, that you are a fragment of divine consciousness, here to transform experience into wisdom. When you finally understand this, when you look back and realize that every obstacle was a teacher, every pain was an initiation, and every moment of confusion was preparing you for clarity, you begin to see Earth not as a battlefield, but as a sacred training ground. You no longer fear challenges because you know they are designed to awaken your highest self. You no longer resent the past because you recognize its purpose, and you no longer doubt your strength because you have proven it to yourself through lived experience. This is the essence of why your soul returns to Earth again and again, not to suffer, but to awaken through experience, not to be broken, but to be transformed, not to escape darkness, but to illuminate it from within. Thoth also teaches that Earth is one of the few worlds where free will operates with such intensity and precision. In many higher realms, creation happens effortlessly because consciousness is pure, uncluttered, and aligned. But in that effortlessness, choice loses its weight, decision loses its edge. Intention does not carry the same gravity when everything responds instantly to your thoughts. Earth, however, is different. Here, the density slows everything down, giving your choices texture, consequence, and meaning. What you decide today may not reveal its outcome for years. Yet that delay is not a flaw, it is part of the training. It teaches patience, responsibility, and awareness of how even the smallest intention shapes the trajectory of your life. Here, the soul learns how to create reality not through automatic divine power, but through intention sharpened by challenge, thought strengthened by uncertainty, an action rooted in courage. It is a place where manifestation requires clarity, focus, and emotional coherence. In the higher planes, your thoughts become form instantly. On earth, they become form slowly, allowing you to observe how your inner world interacts with the outer one. You learn to see the connection between belief and experience, between fear and stagnation, between desire and movement. The world becomes a mirror, showing you the mechanics of your own consciousness. This is why choices matter more on earth than almost anywhere else. Here, free will is not merely a concept, it is a living force. Every decision shifts timeline. Every intention reshapes the field around you. Even indecision is a choice, one that locks you into a stagnant timeline until you gather the courage to move again. Thoth says that Earth is one of the rare realms where your personal timeline can dramatically diverge based on a single moment of clarity, a single act of honesty, a single refusal to repeat an old pattern. You are constantly standing at crossroads, whether you realize it or not. The universe waits patiently for your direction. Your thoughts are not passive, they are architects. They carve subtle pathways into your reality, attracting experiences that match their frequency. A fearful thought does not punish you, but it does shape the energy you emit. A hopeful thought does not guarantee immediate change, but it opens a door where none existed before. The earth plane teaches you the sacred mechanics of creation. That thought becomes belief, belief becomes behavior, behavior becomes pattern, and pattern becomes destiny. And because these changes happen slowly, you have time to observe them, refine them, and take responsibility for them. Your soul came here to practice conscious creation under pressure, the pressure of limitation, uncertainty, chaos, and separation. In the higher worlds, creation is effortless. On earth, creation requires strength. You must hold your vision even when the world contradicts it. You must maintain faith even when nothing around you reflects it. You must listen to your intuition even when logic doubts it. This is spiritual weightlifting, Thoth says, the development of spiritual muscles impossible to build in realms of pure light. Only here, in this dense reality, can a soul learn the discipline of intention, the stamina of focus, and the resilience of the heart. The limitations you face, physical, emotional, mental, societal, are not barriers but training tools. They teach you how to work within boundaries, how to grow under pressure, and how to discover abilities you did not know you possessed. A soul that learns to create in a realm of limitations becomes extraordinarily powerful when it returns to the higher dimensions. It carries with it a mastery forged through friction, a strength born from overcoming resistance, and a clarity sharpened by experience. On earth, you must navigate the interference of collective beliefs. You must face the noise of the mind and the heaviness of emotion. You must learn to distinguish your own voice from the voices of conditioning, fear, expectation, and memory. And through that process you refine not only how you create, but who you are while creating. The act of shaping your reality becomes an act of shaping yourself. Every soul that incarnates here understands, at least at the higher level, that Earth is not gentle terrain. It is complex, chaotic, and unpredictable. But that unpredictability is the very reason souls return. You cannot plan mastery. You cannot script awakening. You must experience it. And Earth provides experiences that cannot be simulated anywhere else. Heartbreak that forces you to choose compassion. Confusion that forces you to choose trust. Loss that forces you to choose resilience. And darkness that forces you to become your own source of light. Free will is the soul's greatest teacher. It positions you in a world where you are both creator and student, both architect and wanderer, both sculptor and clay. Through your choices, moment by moment you discover the immense power you carry within. Even when you doubt, even when you hesitate, even when you fear, the universe responds to your intention, waits for your clarity, and moves in harmony with your deepest truths. And Thoth reminds you, you came here not to learn how to escape limitation, but to learn how to transform within it, not to surrender your power, but to claim it. Not to be shaped by the world, but to shape your world consciously. This is the essence of Earth's training, and the gift of free will that only this realm provides. Another reason for your incarnation is the need for integration. Souls rarely arrive on Earth as a single, seamless stream of consciousness. Instead, they carry with them fragments, echoes of past lifetimes, incomplete lessons, unresolved memories, suppressed emotions, and aspects of themselves that were left behind in other eras, other bodies, other worlds. These fragments travel with you, not as a burden, but as threads waiting to be rewoven into the greater tapestry of your being. Integration is not punishment. It is restoration. It is the art of reclaiming every part of yourself that has been forgotten, wounded, or cast aside. Earth, with all its density and emotional complexity, provides the ideal environment for this reclamation. In higher realms, healing is subtle, almost effortless. But because everything flows so smoothly, the deeper fractures of the soul remain hidden. Light alone cannot reveal what lies buried in shadow. Earth, however, reveals everything. Its emotional intensity acts like a magnifying glass, enlarging every unresolved pattern, every old wound, every forgotten memory, until you can finally see it clearly. That clarity is painful, but it is also the beginning of profound healing. Relationships play a central role in this process. They are not random encounters, but soul-designed intersections meant to activate forgotten pieces of your inner landscape. Someone who irritates you may be awakening a wound of humiliation that you carried from another lifetime. Someone who abandons you may be triggering a memory of loss that was never healed. Someone who loves you deeply may be helping you reopen a part of your heart you once closed for protection. Even those who seem to harm you serve as catalysts not to justify their actions, but to illuminate the unresolved corners of your soul. Thoth teaches that these relationships are agreements made long before incarnation. Souls choose each other not out of cruelty, but out of mutual purpose, to help one another become whole again. Conflicts serve the same purpose. They push to the surface what you would never willingly confront. Anger reveals boundaries you did not know you had. Jealousy uncovers fears of inadequacy left from a distant lifetime. Grief exposes where love was once lost. Anxiety brings to light ancient memories of danger or instability. These emotions do not arise to torment you. They arise to be understood. They carry messages from the past, begging to be acknowledged so that they can finally dissolve. Earth is the only realm where emotional triggers operate with such precision. A simple conversation, a tone of voice, a facial expression, or a forgotten scent can open a portal to a lifetime you do not consciously remember. Suddenly, you react with an intensity that makes no sense in the present because the reaction does not belong to the present. It belongs to a story your soul lived long ago. These moments are opportunities for integration. They signal that a fragment of your consciousness is resurfacing, asking to be seen, held, and healed. The goal of life, then, is not merely to be good, succeed, or avoid pain. The deeper purpose is to gather every part of yourself scattered across time. You are here to retrieve your strength from one lifetime, your courage from another, your compassion from a third, your wisdom from a fourth. You are here to call home the forgotten child you once were, the wounded adult you once became, the warrior, the healer, the mother, the seeker, the wanderer, every version of you that ever lived. Integration means embracing these fragments, not rejecting them. It means understanding that your anger is not your enemy, your grief is not your weakness, your fear is not your failure. They are signals, echoes, pathways leading back to the parts of yourself that were never fully healed. Thoth says that the soul becomes whole, not by suppressing these parts but by welcoming them, listening to them, and transforming them through awareness. Earth provides the emotional weight necessary for this transformation. Without the density of human experience, you could not feel the full impact of old wounds. Without that impact, you could not heal them. Higher realms are peaceful, but peace does not provoke growth. Earth, by contrast, provokes everything. It pushes, stretches, and challenges you until every hidden fragment rises to the surface. This is why life sometimes feels overwhelming. You are not just dealing with the present, you are dealing with the echoes of many lifetimes converging into this one moment for healing. And yet, the process is not chaotic. It is guided. The universe, your higher self, and your soul's companions orchestrate these experiences with precision. The right person appears at the right time to activate the right memory. The right challenge emerges exactly when you are strong enough to face it. Nothing is random. Integration is a sacred choreography, unfolding with perfect timing. When you embrace this process, when you stop resisting what arises and instead ask, what part of me is returning right now? Everything changes. Pain becomes a messenger. Conflict becomes a doorway. Emotion becomes a teacher. And you begin to collect the pieces of yourself one by one, weaving them into a greater, more powerful whole. Ultimately, integration is the reason many souls return to Earth repeatedly. Not for punishment, but for restoration. Not for suffering, but for remembering. Earth gives you the chance to gather everything you have ever been and carry that wholeness back to the higher realms. You leave not as a fractured being, but as a soul strengthened by experience, expanded by awareness, and illuminated by the full truth of who you are. Thoth explains that souls also incarnate to contribute to collective evolution. You are not here only for yourself. Your journey may feel personal, your wounds, your growth, your questions, your longing, but every shift you make within your inner world resonates far beyond the boundaries of your own life. Human consciousness is not a collection of isolated minds but a vast energetic field, a woven grid of awareness that connects every soul on the planet. And each individual, whether awakened or asleep, radiates into that grid constantly. Thoth teaches that your presence is not passive, it is a frequency, and that frequency influences the whole. You may never speak a word of spiritual wisdom, you may never think of yourself as a teacher, a healer, or a guide, but your vibration, the sum of your experiences, your healing, your choices, your realizations, ripples into the collective. When you heal trauma, you shift the weight of trauma for humanity. When you choose compassion instead of resentment, you soften the collective heart. When you choose courage over fear, you strengthen the grid of courage for everyone else. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are a drop that changes the ocean. Your struggles, though deeply personal, are not insignificant in the collective story. When you break an old pattern, a generational wound, a karmic cycle, a belief rooted in fear, you are not only freeing yourself, you are freeing every soul connected to that pattern. Human consciousness evolves through individuals, one by one. Each person who awakens moves the entire species forward, even if only by a fraction. But those fractions accumulate, they ripple outward, they cross continents, they cross bloodlines, they cross time. Thoth says that even a single realization, a moment when your inner truth pierces through illusion, emits a shockwave of light into the collective mind. This is why awakening often feels heavy. You are not just carrying your own lessons, you are transmuting fragments of collective density, ancestral beliefs, societal conditioning, and ancient wounds that humanity has carried for centuries. When you heal an insecurity, you lighten the weight for countless others who hold the same insecurity. When you shed a fear, you open a pathway for others to walk through. Healing is never solitary. It always spreads by choosing love over fear. You elevate the entire species. Love is not sentimental emotion. It is frequency, clarity, alignment. Fear contracts consciousness. Love expands it. Fear closes pathways. Love opens them. Fear fragments the collective grid. Love harmonizes it. Every time you choose love and forgiveness, patience, compassion, understanding, or courage, you create an energetic shift that hundreds, thousands, or even millions can feel at an unconscious level. Your life is part of a larger symphony of awakening playing out across generations. Souls incarnate in waves, not randomly but deliberately. Some come to break old systems. Some come to heal ancient wounds. Some come to hold higher frequencies. Some come simply to live and, by living authentically, anchor a new vibration into the world. You belong to a wave, a generation of souls who have chosen to awaken during a time of immense transformation on Earth. Your very existence signals a turning point in human consciousness. Thoth teaches that no act of healing is wasted. Even the most private moments, when you comfort yourself in darkness, when you forgive someone in silence, when you confront a fear alone, send ripples through the collective field. Every inner victory becomes a shared victory. Every expansion becomes a doorway others can walk through with less resistance. This is the hidden architecture of evolution. It happens quietly, invisibly, within hearts and minds, long before it ever manifests as societal change. By the time a culture shifts, millions of individual souls have already shifted internally. Your contribution might seem small, but it is not. You are a thread in a massive tapestry. Without your thread, the pattern would be incomplete. Even your challenges contribute. When you face something difficult, depression, grief, betrayal, fear, and you rise even slightly above it, you are adding resilience to the collective grid. Someone on the other side of the planet may find strength they didn't know they had because of the frequency you emanated. Souls are connected in ways your physical senses cannot perceive. And when you choose truth over illusion, clarity over confusion, and awareness over unconsciousness, you become a beacon. Those near you feel the shift. Those far from you receive its echo. You become a stabilizing force, a quiet anchor, helping others navigate their own storms even without speaking a word. The symphony Thoth speaks of is ancient. Souls have been working toward this collective awakening for thousands of years. You are part of this orchestration, not accidentally, but intentionally. You incarnated now because your frequency, your lessons, your experiences are needed in this era. You are helping humanity remember its own divinity, not by preaching, but by being. Your life is not separate from the evolution of the world. Your healing shapes the future. Your consciousness alters the timeline. Your presence shifts the field. And through you, through each choice, each awakening, each moment of truth, the collective soul of humanity rises. Ultimately, the real reason your soul came to Earth is remembrance. Beneath every challenge, every fear, every desire, every longing, there is a single purpose woven through the fabric of your entire life: to remember what you truly are. Not the body that ages, not the personality shaped by circumstances, not the story you've lived or the identity you defend. These are temporary garments, tools of experience. What you are is the eternal consciousness witnessing it all, the quiet awareness that remains unchanged through lifetimes, the presence behind every thought, the light behind every lifetime's mask. Earth is not a prison, though it may feel like one in moments of despair. It is a proving ground, a realm of density designed to make you forget, so that remembering becomes an act of awakening. In higher realms, where everything is luminous and unified, remembering your divinity requires no effort. But effortlessness does not build mastery. Only through contrast, through separation, through struggle, through shadow does the soul learn to recognize itself independent of environment. This is why Earth is so profoundly transformative. It tests the soul's ability to see truth even when surrounded by illusion. Divinity learns to walk through shadow here. It learns how to remain aware even while veiled, how to choose love even when fear seems louder, how to stay connected to light even when darkness surrounds. Each moment of clarity you experience, each inner shift, each sudden insight, each glimpse of stillness is a spark of remembrance breaking through the veil. These moments may seem small, but they are the essence of awakening. When you awaken to this truth, when you remember that you are the witness, not the experience, you complete the deeper purpose of your incarnation. You realize that separation was never real. It was a training ground for consciousness. You realized that the challenges you faced were chosen not to punish you but to carve space for greater wisdom. You realized that the darkness you walked through was not there to swallow you, but to help you see your own light more clearly. The soul's journey is not about escaping Earth but transforming through it. You are here to experience separation in all its forms: loneliness, confusion, fear, longing, and then to transcend it from within. Transcendence does not mean rising above life. It means seeing through it. It means recognizing that everything in your reality is a projection of consciousness, a set of lessons crafted with extraordinary precision to help you reclaim what you already are. Thoth teaches that remembrance is not an intellectual act. It is a state of being. You remember yourself through presence, through awareness, through the quiet recognition that there is a part of you untouched by time, trauma, or circumstance. You'll remember yourself in moments of stillness, in intuition, in synchronicity, in the feeling of something ancient stirring inside. You remember yourself every time you choose truth over illusion, alignment over fear, love over fragmentation. As you deepen into remembrance, life begins to shift. You no longer cling to identity as tightly because you realize it is temporary. You no longer fear endings because you understand they are transitions. You no longer resist challenges because you see their purpose. You no longer search outside yourself for validation because you feel the quiet power of your own essence. This is not detachment, it is liberation. It is the soul remembering its own nature while still moving through the density of human life. When remembrance strengthens, the world loses its grip on you, not because you withdraw from it, but because you no longer mistake yourself for it. You can experience joy without clinging, sorrow without collapsing, uncertainty without losing yourself. You live from a deeper foundation, a foundation built on awareness of your true identity. This awareness does not erase life's challenges, but it transforms your relationship with them. You become the witness of every experience rather than the victim of any experience. And this is the purpose of the proving ground. Earth is where consciousness comes to mature, to refine, to remember itself in conditions where remembrance seems impossible, to learn how to hold light in darkness, how to stay awake in forgetfulness, how to maintain truth in the presence of illusion. This is mastery, not fleeing the world, but walking through it awake. When your time on earth ends and you return to the higher realms, you do not carry your possessions, your achievements, or your identity. You carry only the wisdom you forged here. You carry the strength earned through challenge, the compassion born from suffering, the clarity shaped by confusion, the insight awakened through struggle. These become part of your eternal essence, expanding your consciousness across all lifetimes. This is why the soul chooses Earth again and again, not out of obligation, but out of purpose, not out of punishment, but out of devotion to its own evolution. Earth is a crucible, a sacred fire that burns away illusion and reveals truth. Through every lifetime, every death, every awakening, the soul grows steadier, clearer, and more radiant. Remembrance is the return home, not to a place, but to yourself, to the awareness that has always been present beneath the noise of the world, to the light that was never lost, only forgotten. And when you remember fully, even for a moment, you fulfill the deepest reason you came to Earth, to walk through separation and return to unity, carrying wisdom that could only be born through the journey of being human.